Hey gamers, we are here and late. Apologies for that. We had some technical issues that and I had a meeting last night, or I guess Monday morning for you guys. We're just talking about some of the videos coming out next year and doing a little bit of brainstorming. I think it's something exciting, especially if you've watched some other content from Adam in the past. But today, anyway, I am super thrilled because finally we have a new Star Trek game, and it's not a strategy game like the one that came out last year. But I'll talk about that on my side of the show. I'm also going to talk about Hollow Knight Silksong, which is I never played the original one, but I'm gonna be buying and playing the second one starting next week, so keep an eye out for that. I don't think I will stream it unless I have time, unless I sort of set up my streaming beforehand, which is another big question. On Adam's side of the show, he's going to be talking about Everwind, Zero Parades, and Unbeatable. Stay tuned, as always, towards the end of the show. If you have any questions that you want Adam to discuss, sure, we'll take them there. But otherwise, as usual, we saw two questions from Reddit. With just over 3 months left of the year, what games are you looking forward to in 2025? And someone else is looking for recommendations for a casual game. So if you're looking for those answers, definitely make sure you do not skip a beat on today's show. But Adam, tell us more about Everwind.
Yeah, so Everwind, I mean, it's been announced quite a while ago. This is a game on Kickstarter, but this is the first time I've seen it. So they dropped a new trailer that was at Gamescom. If you remember, we talked about another game called Tomo Endless Blue a while back, and it looks very similar to that in that you're in this voxel world. You have these floating islands. You're various. There's a big open sea. And there's physics. It's like Minecraft with physics, which is always something that I always kind of really wanted. I love tinkering around. You've seen me play Besiege. You've seen me play those sort of games. So I always love kind of tinkering around with the physics and whatnot. And this game does that. So of course, immediately it grabbed my attention. So anyway, this is sold as a voxel-based survival RPG. You are set in a world that is divided into 3 altitudes. So you have your sea level, and then you can move up to slightly higher, and then even higher than that. And there are, of course, multiple biomes across those. So you jungles and deserts, tundra, and all that sort of thing. And in some ways, it is very similar to Minecraft. Like the voxel world itself looks very similar. The crafting is fairly similar. You can get things in your inventory, and you can craft things there. For more complex things, you might need to build special workbenches that you need fine things, complex things. So, in that sense, it's very similar, but it is very different than what you might see in Minecraft. First of all, the character and creation design is very different. They are a little more. They're still blocky, but it's not just like solid blocks. They do have like some dimension to them. Arms might be thicker in some places and thinner in some places, and sort of things. You don't just automatically unlock things by being able to make them. You actually need to gather recipes if you want to create certain things. So, you have to go into town and you have to buy it, or you have to find it in a dungeon. You can't just go out and say like, oh, I have these 2 things, let me mash them together. Look up on a website, oh, that's how I make it, mash them. You can't do that. You need to unlock some things. So there's that bit of dungeon delving and RPG elements to it. There's way more variety to weapons and such. I mean, they showed like you get a sword and they have a magic hammer and they get this it's like a I don't remember what the name of that stick is that the Aztecs would use, with the obsidian along the side, but it's basically that, but it's got buzz saws. So that, the whole bunch of different weapon variety. They say that they really want to allow you to be able to do that. And that's reflected in the fact that they have 3 classes. They have a warrior class, which is good at melee or ranged combat. You have an engineer who's specifically good at technology crafting and building, and then you have an arcanist who's kind of your magic and alchemy guy. And they each have skill trees. So you actually have skill trees that you can upgrade your character as you go, and you can get better at certain things. And that is very different. Also in combat, this is stamina based combat. Not just swing, 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 swing. You have stamina, you have attack combos, so you can string things together. You have heavy attacks, you have magic that you can string in there. So it's definitely got a little more action RPG in the combat than what you would see. Minecraft. And also, of course, they have the airship, and that's a really big part of this game. So the airship is fully customizable. Basically, you discover this thing called, I think it's a steamer, and basically it's a steam engine. Then you can put that on something, and that thing will then become your airship. You can then put on balloons to help keep it aloft, engines to help it move around. But you also have to worry about things like fuel management. So you have to go out, you have to gather fuel, bring it back to your airship. The bigger your airship is, it'll actually calculate the weight of your airship. So if it's bigger, it's going to move slowly and it's going to burn more fuel. So you have to, find better balloons that are more fuel efficient or that sort of thing. And you even have to kind of construct it because you have to set pipes from your fuel to the engines, and you have to do them in an efficient way, because if you're not efficiently using your piping and whatnot, you're not going to get as much you're going to be burning more fuel than you would if you had a more efficient design. So for me, that is actually what's really enticing, is it's kind of the engineering aspect of kind of the physics and mechanics of trying to build this thing and floating around and gathering resources, but all set in this kind of open Minecraft world where you can do everything. So for me, that's really interesting, and it's the same thing that I saw in Endless. So I'm really excited about this. I hope to see more. It is on Kickstarter. I don't know if it's still open or not. It might be. I know they haven't reached all their goals yet, so it looks like the next goal is to open up more villages and that sort of thing. So you're gonna have more like settlements that you can run into, which would be really, really cool. So yeah, check it out, Everwind. It is no release date yet, but they have quite a few trailers.
Very cool. So to answer Adam's question, no, this is not available on Kickstarter yet. It closed roughly at the beginning of this month on August 8th, 2025. They raised 45,961 euros of 30,000, so that's pretty impressive. I mean, I feel like Kickstarter sort of slows down in the summer as somebody who spends way too much money on the Kickstarter. But yeah, no, it looks very cool and interesting. I'm still like, I remember when Adam introduced me to Minecraft I don't know how many years ago, and he built this interesting thing, and I'm like, okay, let's give Minecraft a try. And I tried it. I'm like, eh. So I'm not a big fan of voxels. Like, there was another game released by somebody else called Trove, which I was like, okay, lots of people like that quite a few years ago. And again, similar sort of art style. No, can't do it. It's not bad. It just doesn't vibe with me. I mean, it's just the same like with Coral Island. Like, after playing Coral Island, like going to play like a pixel art game again, it just, I don't know, I don't want to do it. It's very hard to explain, to be honest. But no, it looks really cool, really interesting. This is being published by Bohemia Interactive, which is, again, if you're like a military sim player, you would remember this from the Armor series, right? Armor 1, 2, 3, published by Bohemia, and seems like I guess they're not developing it, but I mean, adding Everwind to your list of games that you publish seems quite different, but I'm excited. I think the more games that people can play together and do cool things, and I definitely agree with Adam. The physics stuff is pretty cool. Looking at Frozen Flame and what Adam was doing there, that was interesting as somebody who's not that smart anymore, for lack of a better word. Like, that's fun stuff to watch, so I'll take it. I was gonna say Bewitched, not Bewitched, Besieged. Another good example of really cool physics stuff that, again, if I had the patience and brains for it, I'd love to play around with that sort of stuff. But nope, that's please watch Adam's previous videos, or I guess you guys are already doing that, so there's no problem right there. But yeah, let's see what happens. If you are interested in kickstarting it, there are sometimes they do allow late backing through something else called BackerKit, which is like a partner Kickstarter company, so check it out as well. Okay, moving on. So my first game is, as I alluded to, because I was so excited for it, I'm like, Star Trek, finally! And this is a game I still want my very first favorite game to be about Star Trek Deep Space Nine, because that was my favorite Star Trek series ever. And I was talking to a previous manager of mine, and he just rewatched Deep Space Nine, or I should say, he finally watched Deep Space Nine in 2025, and he was like, "Yeah, pretty good, but still not his favorite. He's still one of those like next generation people." But so, what if you could rewrite Star Trek Voyager's 7-year trek one run at a time? And that is exciting to me because I love the opportunity to change the history of something that already existed. And I love time games in general. I've played a bunch of them over the last, how many games? I've been gaming for like 35 years. So like, yeah, 35, 36 years of gaming. And so what this is, right? And this was just revealed, and it's just a teaser trailer, 1 minute and something, and there's not much in it. But there are some descriptions on Steam. It's already wishlisted. I would like freaking pre-order this game immediately if I could. So this is a single-player survival strategy roguelite retelling of Voyager's Delta Quadrant journey. So if you've never watched Star Trek, right? Basically, Voyager was this ship that was zapped into the very farthest reaches of the Star Trek universe, called the Delta Quadrant, which was not connected to the main Star Trek worlds at that time, right? And so in this place, right, you get like you're away from Klingons, you're away from other sort of species and that sort of stuff. And so they came across a lot of different things. It was really cool. This game is being published by GameXsight. Never heard of them. I should say developed by GameXsight, published by Daedalic Entertainment. It's going to launch on Steam, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. No Switch 2 at the moment. And side story, you might have seen this on Reddit. Quite a few companies are having issues developing for the Switch 2, which is very weird. That might be a story we talk about at a later point. So it's described as something similar to FTL, so like no two runs are the same. It looks 3D-ish, but again, that was just the teaser trailer, so I don't know if that's going to happen. If it is FTL style, I would still play it. But FTL was kind of difficult because I felt like with FTL, when I played it, like FTL is more than 10 years old, right? I felt like you were not getting better faster, very similar to the Everspace 1 game that I played on the Switch, which was like, here, you're dead. Here's the 1.5% extra damage on your gun. No, that doesn't make a difference. Sorry. So there's some really cool decisions, right? So they give you an example of like, what if Voyager embraced Borg tech? I'm like, oh, cool. Yes, there was an episode with that. What if, I don't want to do any spoilers. So what if this person didn't die in the show and then this happened, right? Like, or what if this person stayed on the Voyager? Or what happened if Captain Janeway did this decision about going back to the Alpha Quadrant? Like, there's some really cool things you can do. They did show like managing Voyager's crew, like very similar to that FTL style way of like each deck is being managed in a different way, and there must have been like 20 decks looking at the trailer. So you're juggling power support, research, morale, and a lot of different things. You get to have, like away missions and that sort of stuff. So it's not like that is definitely different from FTL in that perspective. You get to target ship subsystems, right? Like, again, if you watch Star Trek person, I've been watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds, target the enemy's shields, target the enemy's engines, right? That sort of stuff. And again, not very new, but like something as a Trekkie, you'd be like, yes, I can finally do this in a game. And it's Star Trek, which makes you feel that connection even more. So unfortunately, like I said at the beginning of this whole spiel, is no release date just yet. All you can do is wish list. Yeah, it's fantastic news. Honestly, like I do have, like, was it Star Trek Unknown Worlds? No, it's not Unknown Worlds. Maybe it is. There was an RTS, or like a turn-based strategy game released based on the Stellaris sort of system. And Stellaris was another turn-based space game released like a few years ago that was very popular. The Star Trek game did not do very well. So I'm thankful somebody came out with something like this, which I think lends perfectly to Star Trek, and specifically Star Trek Voyager, because you are traveling through unknown places and things that have never been experienced in terms of Star Trek before. So check it out. As always, like we say on the show, right? If you want to support a developer and you can buy a game to see it, a wish list goes a long way. Sharing that link on your Facebook, on your Instagram, or whatever for people to wish this also helps as well. So Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown coming out hopefully next year, but I think probably 2027. We'll see. Let me know what you think down in the comments.
Yeah, I'm
I figured as much. I feel like we've talked about this
we
before, and
probably have. We
I didn't
probably have.
think.
Yeah, looking at
I think I'm the
the
only Deep Space Nine person I know that I've ever met across all
I've
my
known some Deep
travels.
Space Nine people. I've known some Voyager
Okay.
people too.
Voyager's my number two. TNG, yeah, would be number three because, well, no, now they have the new Star Trek, so that's another story. But I mean, that I could turn this into a Star Trek episode.
Yeah, yeah. Looking at the crosscut of it, the ship, I was like, it looks a lot smaller than what it feels like. And
Yes, yes, that I agree with you. Like, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I am sure Voyager is the largest ship in, well, at that point in history in Star Trek, and it should be bigger. But apparently, I mean, if it was too big, that would be crazy managing all of that.
oh no, that'd be insane trying to manage. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I always imagine it being like size. Then you're looking at it and it's like, oh, it's only like 3 tall. Big as I thought it was. It felt bigger. I mean,
Exactly.
they have these wide open hallways that they're walking down, which obviously camera shots and yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they scaled it down for simplicity or if it's just deceptively smaller than it seems on the
I
show.
think they've scaled it down for simplicity, just because. Or I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens. Like, this is such an early announcement. It's just a teaser. We'll have to see. A side note as well, like all of this stuff, or not some, most of the stuff we're talking about today was announced at Gamescom. So that is why we're talking about it 1 week later. So go check out the Gamescom website, check out the trailers on YouTube as well. But speaking of that, Adam, tell us about Zero Parades.
Yes, Zero Parades was announced at Gamescom. You might not have heard of it, but you probably have heard of its successor, predecessor, Disco Elysium. So this is made by the same guys that did Disco Elysium. And yeah, it's a what do they call it? An espionage game, which is kind of interesting because they're saying that this is not your typical. When you think of espionage, you're probably thinking of Bond, Salt, Mission Impossible, that sort of thing. And this is not that. This is very much not that. This is probably closer to, I guess, kind of like Atomic Blonde to an extent, with less action. So basically, they're saying it is. I'm not sure if it's set in the same world as Disco Elysium, but they do say that this is a completely unrelated narrative. There is no lore. Maybe it is in the same world. But they say that this is not high espionage. This is more mundane. Not going to have shootouts. You're not going to have motorcycle chases. There aren't any real action sequences. This is more about what it means to like actually be a spy and very real sense, and more the psychological impact that's going to take on. You're going to play as Herschel. She's a spy, and in her previous mission, basically everybody ended up either dead or captured. So she's basically out of the game. She has no contacts, kind of alone, and didn't really think that she was going to have to be pulled back in. You know, she was kind of out, but apparently there's this kind of world political issue going on that she needs to resolve. So she has to go back in. She's going to have to find her way back to old contacts for the ones that she can. A lot of them are dead. And the ones that aren't dead don't like her very much, but she's going to have to find her way and navigate that world to get through to resolve this system. And so they've added a few new systems onto it. The first one is the conditioning system. So in Disco Elysium, I haven't played it, but they mentioned something about a cognitive cabinet, I think is what they called it. They said that this is kind of an expansion of that. So this is a mechanic where it's going to reinforce or punish aspects of your psyche. And so, for example, the example that the guy gave in an interview was if you're a smoker, you decide, I'm going to stop smoking. So I'm not going to do that anymore. The next day you go on a mission, you're meeting with these ambassadors or whatever, and some of them say, well, you know, we're going to go out on the balcony for a smoke. So you have a choice to make. Do you, you've decided I'm not a smoker anymore, but if you go out and on that smoke break and do smoke with them, then you can get a lot more information. So who are you really? Are you who you are internally? I'm this person who doesn't smoke anymore. Or are you the person that you project in the real world? I am still a smoker because I'm smoking right now. Even if it is for a mission. I didn't stick to my own moral ethics or codes. I did this for the mission. And so basically the choices that you make in the game are going to be reflected in that, and it's going to, kind of impact like who are you, because you are a spy, but who is the spy really? Is it the person who becomes the spy, or is it the person that the spy becomes, right? And so that's kind of where they're going with this. They're also adding a pressure system, which what that does is your emotions and your psyche. I apologize for the construction going on, but your emotions and your psyche are going to make certain things more difficult or easier. So the example they give there is he says, maybe you stole a briefcase that had confidential information, and you were out all night doing this, so you're just tired, you're fatigued. So you drink a coffee, but the coffee makes you jittery, so you're more anxious. And then somebody questions you about that briefcase. Maybe if you were fatigued, but you were still maybe if you were more fatigued, you'd be tired and you wouldn't be thinking clearly, but now you're anxious, so you're getting more nervous, so you're sweating more and that sort of thing. So all these decisions that you're making and all these things that you're doing are impacting your ability to do your job, and whether you do the job or whether you stay true to who you are going to impact the story moving forward. So it sounds really, really interesting. It's not, if you're like an action kind of person, like if you're looking forward to that new Bond game or something like that, that might not necessarily appeal to you because you're not going to have that. But if you're the kind of person who likes these kind of heady psychological experiments and that sort of thing, you might want to check this one out because it does sound very interesting. We don't have a release date yet, but one of the developers did say it is releasing sooner than you think. So this one seems to be further along in development than anticipate, which is great news because recently a lot of games will, like the Elder Scrolls announce and they're like, oh yeah, we're totally making this game, and then 6 years later they're like, yeah, there's no end in sight. But this one, it looks like they're like, no, we're pretty far along. It'll be coming out maybe not in the immediate future, but don't expect too long of it. So that's good news. So anyway, go ahead, check out the trailer. Zero Parades. I think it was maybe in a interview with him. Check that out as well. Real interesting stuff what the guy talks about there. So
Yeah, this looked interesting. I know when I was researching shows for Gamescom, I'm like, okay, what am I gonna talk about? And oh, god damn it. And I was researching shows, and I'm like, okay, this looks. I was researching games. This looks interesting. And then I'm like, okay, who is this from? I'm like, oh, this is 𝙎𝙪𝙥𝙢𝙬. Okay. Okay. 1 second. And as I was researching, I'm like, okay, fine. Let's read about it a little bit more. I'm like looking at different systems and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. I remember I was telling Adam just before, I'm like, yeah, I played Disco Elysium and I played it for like 10, 15 minutes, and I'm like, nope, can't do it. I was not in the mood. And definitely, like, if you're not in the right frame of mind for reading and text and stuff, and I would definitely say, I tried playing Disco Elysium on the Switch, and because the letters were so small, yes, I said that at 43 or 42 turning 43, it was like, not that I couldn't read it, but you had to like really pay attention on your little handheld screen. This could definitely be better and maybe nicer to play on like a big screen or like a big monitor if you have one. But yeah, no, this looks interesting. Looks like they're using some of the systems from Disco Elysium. And again, I only played it for a little bit, but I did read a fair bit because Disco Elysium was so popular. It did sell 1 million copies, more than 1 million copies. And of course, there was all that publisher developer drama with Disco Elysium as well. So that really put it in the zeitgeist of games that people talk about. Similar to what, again, we've talked about with Subnautica 2 and Craft and what's going on there. But I definitely agree. Like this is definitely, if you're into story heavy gaming or you're in the mood for it at some point, this is definitely something to keep on your radar. Okay. All right, and my final story for today, because we did start a bit late, and it's fine anyway, because I'll be playing the Grand Bazaar in 2 days' time, and I am excited. So, Hollow Knight Silksong is one of the few games at Gamescom who dropped and said, yes, we're coming out on September 4th. There you go. So, what was that Metroidvania you played?
You're thinking of Nine Souls?
Yes, Nine Soul, another fantastic game. Please do check it out. Support Taiwanese developers. Um, so Hollow Knight Silksong, or the Hollow Knight games, is something I've heard about forever, and Adam's probably the same. He probably knows a lot more than I do. It's just one of those things where I've seen YouTube videos, I've seen social posts, I've seen personalities talk about Hollow Knight. I'm like, okay, okay, yes, yes, I know. Lots of people love it. I've never tried it just because, as again, if you've followed us since 2020 for 5 years, um, I am not a very patient person, and that's become even less so as I've gotten older. I get frustrated pretty easily. I tried another Taiwanese game, The Legend of Tian Ding, which was again a similar Metrovania game, and that game was like, I think it lasted about 2 hours before I deleted it. So I'm gonna be playing Hollow Knight Silksong next week. Hopefully it lasts longer than 2 hours, otherwise I would be extremely disappointed in myself. Um, so it is developed by Team Cherry and published by Team Cherry. It'll be day one on Xbox Game Pass. The expected price, again, I googled it because I had to put some money on my Steam account. Because I don't like to use my credit card to buy from Steam anymore, so I just use a debit card. Day one on Xbox Game Pass, but it's not that expensive if you do want to buy it. It's expected to be $25 or whatever the equivalent regional amount in your country would be. So coming out on Xbox, PlayStation. So this is the original, I guess not the original Xbox and PlayStation, but like whatever the consoles are. Switch, Switch 2, and PC, Steam, GOG, and Humble. So no early review codes, which is wonderful for us middle-aged gaming, because I get to play it as soon as it comes out. Put something out if I can. Well, not if I can. I'm going to do my best to put something out. So reviews will land after launch. But again, lots of people have played preview versions. They're like, yes, this is good. I saw something today which popped up on my Google Newsfeed. People were like, okay, wonderful, but I think they should have taken more risks. And again, you sort of see that with a lot of like established franchises of like actually the game's amazing, but they're like, I want more, right? But again, that just, it depends on the kind of person you are. Like I could play 10 XComs, and if they changed 15% of the game each time, I'd be okay. But some people are like, nope, I want you to change it a lot because I need new and interesting content all the time. Which again, that's totally fine. Like I know some people are like that. I had this expression on the internet as like non-smooth brain or smooth brain people like me. We're okay playing the same game over and over and over and over. So hands-on previews to sort of highlight faster parry-driven combat. Oh my god, parry-driven, that's scary for me. Can't parry for anything. I was playing Dragon Age the Veil God, and I literally never parried in the game. I just dodged out of the way all the time because I can't time. I didn't break out my Xbox controller, so hopefully that helps with parrying. There's tools and a crafting system, plus new currencies as well. And again, if you're somebody who's played Hollow Knight, tell me all about that down in the comments. Like it mentions rosaries and shell shards. What? Only rosary I know is the stuff you get when you go to church. That's it. So there are several studios as well, and again, you would have seen this when it was announced at Gamescom. Like, oh my god, it's coming out September 4th. We're gonna move our game. You're gonna delay it, or bring it early by a few days because people are really worried. And that's the reason why I decided I'd give this a go, because it looks really cool. I like the art style, but the gameplay mechanics is another story. So the scope of the game definitely seems quite a lot. 200 plus enemies, 40 bosses. Jesus Christ. As covered in various rundowns. So It is a full sequel, classic Metrovania with exploration, speed first edge. Wow. I'm saying all these things that are just making me quiver inside, but well, I committed to give it a try, so I'm going to give it a try next week. If you played the original Hollow Knight, let me know what you think. Did you enjoy it? Do you have any advice for me? Because I really need advice going into it next week. I've been watching gameplay videos, just sort of like mentally get ready for what I need to do next week. But I think it's fantastic. Like, I love franchises that people are passionate about. We need more passionate gamers. For example, Doll's Nest as well, which is that Adam tried out. Because I mean, if people lose passion for a franchise, eventually we just have the same games coming out from the same studios all the time. Call of Duty, Battlefield, right? Like, they still dominate the FPS landscape, and we could have used a Splitgate if the CEO of Splitgate hadn't said stupid things online. And I mean, beyond just that, it's just other things as well. Like, we need more Metroidvanias, we need more mech games besides Armored Cores, right? So anyway, Hollow Knight Silksong coming. God, I can't say it. Hollow Knight Silksong coming out next week, September 4th, which will be, what day is it? So it'll be Friday for me, and Thursday for you guys out in the eastern half of the world, or the western half of the world. I'm in the eastern half of the world. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's always kind of weird. Sphere. It's like always eastern and western depending on where you're standing.
Very true. Very true.
but yeah, I haven't played the original one. I've heard it's very hard. I don't know if that's actually true. That seems to be the way people always sell it.
I will find out next week. At least it's $25 and not $70. So
I'll be curious to see how that goes.
I'm sure you will be, and I'm sure I will complain about it. But so I'll be splitting my time like 3 days Hollow Knight, 2 days Grand Bazaar. So we'll see how that goes. And I guess I'll be doing what you do all the time. But for the first time, have to divide my attention between 2 different games.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. I've been doing it recently.
Oh, God.
Driving me nuts. Because I'll notice, like, I will prioritize one game over the other. Like, I'll be like, okay, you can definitely tell when I'm playing a game for myself and when I'm playing a game for a stream. Because when I'm playing a game for myself, it's like, you'll notice that I'll play. And the next time you come back and I'm like 10, 15 hours later, it's totally disjointed. Whereas if you can tell I'm playing a game for a stream, it's the next stream starts exactly where the last one let off. Which actually is not always necessarily the case. Like with Doll's Nest, I really, really... The only reason I wasn't playing it so much off screen... I don't know. I don't play on PC. If it was on console, absolutely 100% I'd be playing that in my off time. But yeah, just being in the PC room and, you know, my wife's in the other... I don't know. Playing on PC feels very antisocial. Whereas playing console feels far more social. I don't know.
I mean, you're not the only person to have said that. I've sort of seen similar comments on Reddit and other
Yeah,
places,
I mean, if I had, like, I mean, in theory, I could just take the piece, look it up. I don't do that. We have a... But sometimes, you know, you have that space.
Totally agree. So, sir, tell us about Unbeatable.
Yeah, so Unbeatable is a game that actually I have had on my wish list for a really long time. And every now and then, you know, I go through my wish list, see which games are on sale, and I'll occasionally see a game like this, say announced, and it say when it's coming out. And so I'm like, all right, leave it there, come back later. But they got a recent trailer at Gamescom. And also, they updated the demo. So they had a demo before, but they've updated it. So they've included, I think, 2 new songs. And there's some story elements. You can play a bit of the story. So Unbeatable is a kind of a... It's a rhythm game. And basically it's pretty simple. It's, you know, most of your rhythm games, you know, like if you're playing Guitar Hero, you have like what, 5 notes or something like that. This one's really just 2. You have up and you have down, and that's it. And but it does kind of map a little bit weirdly, because you'll have multiple buttons mapping to up and multiple buttons that mapping to. You can kind of tap around. If you're playing on a controller, you can kind of tap around different parts of the control. But really, it's just 2 commands. Um, yeah, and so basically, beats will come in, and you have to either hit them, or certain ones you have to down. Certain ones you have to avoid and dodge. So you know, if you get a certain kind of like this triangle beat comes in, coming in low, you got to go high to get over it. So that's the basic gameplay. But the story is that you are set in a world where music is illegal, which is actually, I know a lot of games that have this as a premise. I don't know. This seems like could be a really common thing where like, oh, music is illegal, or a certain style of music is illegal. What was it? No Straight Roads, is that what the other one that did it? Way back on the PS2, I played a game called Unison, which had this premise. So I played a lot of games with this premise. I don't know why it keeps coming up, but anyway, in this world, music is illegal. You're this kind of underground indie band, so you know you're gonna go to various various venues, and you're gonna play and rock out, and you meet other bands, kind of Scott Pilgrim style, I guess. You're also gonna take, you know, gonna fight it out with the cops sometimes, you know, because you know, take it to the man, right? But yeah, overall, I really like the aesthetic. The music's pretty good if you like that kind of indie scene. You know, if you're looking at the visuals, you can probably figure out what style of music I'm talking about. Kind of indie punk kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, and it's not very long. So supposedly this game is only going to be about 6 to 8 hours long, which for me is actually kind of perfect, because that is a great game for me to play between bigger games. Because that's how I always tend to do things. You know, I'll play a really big game, Final Fantasy or something like that, and when I finish it, if I have another game right coming up right next, you know, like for instance, once I finish Silent Hill, I'm pretty sure Ghost of Yotei is going to be out, so I'm probably going to jump right into Ghost of Yotei. But I just finished what was it, Death Stranding, and Silent Hill's not out yet, so I have a little bit of a gap here. Don't want to get too involved with something, so you know, I've been knocking out a few of these smaller indies like Coffee Talk, and this is the perfect kind of game for me for that kind of situation. But also, if you're not so interested in story, they got you in mind. You know, they also have an arcade mode. Arcade mode has its own method of progression. You know, you can get modifiers, scoreboards to do, unlock, and then also you can unlock all the songs just by doing arcade mode, or just by doing. So if you're the person who wants to play through the story, you're going to unlock all the songs. If you don't want to do that, you just want to play the rhythm game, you can do arcade mode and you can unlock all the songs. You don't have to do both. They took that into mind, which is actually pretty cool, because you know, I'm the kind of guy that would do both, but there are a lot of people that would just pick one or the other. So yeah, if it sounds interesting to you, you can go to Steam or PS5. There is a demo available on both. So you can go ahead and check that out. It is the updated demo, so they have a few extra songs and have some story mode. But the main game is going to be releasing November 6th. I am looking very forward to this. Unbeatable. Check it out.
I just have to look this up because I remember I think I had seen it somewhere. Was this also at Gamescom? Yes. So I had looked at it like, okay, cool, very interesting. I have not played a rhythm game in I think since Guitar Hero, to be honest. Like that was the last freaking rhythm game I ever played. Um, but I would like to give it a try. I wouldn't mind like a game with nice music. I love the visuals. Like it looks really cool. Very anime style. Um, and it's like I love like on the Steam page it says party like it's 1999. And I love that.
Yeah, the Steam page is
And as you
very
said, right, like,
tongue in cheek.
yeah, like 68 hours is also good. Like I tend to play less fuller games. Um, I don't know why, but yeah, no, I'm excited for it. So let's see what happens when it comes out.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Let us talk about questions. Um, with just over 3 months left. Yeah, I guess it is just over 3 months. September, October, November, December. Like kind of like 4 months left. What are your most anticipated upcoming titles of 2025? This particular Redditor said Silent Hill F, which we already know is your answer because you've already talked about it as well. But I think if you've been following us, you would actually pretty closely know what is Adam's anticipated games for the rest of this
Exactly.
year. But
Say.
for those people who don't know, tell us again.
Yeah, no, the rest of my year is pretty much sorted, at least until maybe November-ish. Next up is definitely Silent Hill F coming out. I think what, 2 weeks or something like that. After that is Ghost, and then after that is Once Upon a Katamari, and then after that, I don't know. We'll see. Probably pick something out from the backlog that time, unless something else catches my eye between then and there, and I might be forgetting something. Definitely Silent Hill, Ghost of Yotei, and Katamari.
Perfect. Moving on to the next question. Redditor Roberto Paulson is looking for a recommendation for a new casual game. He gives examples like Mini Motorways, Pocket Tech, Factorio, Balatro. I don't think Factorio is very casual, but sure, that's just me.
Maybe it's a move at your own pace thing. Uh, yeah, for me, if you want to play a casual game, I'm going to recommend Besiege, because Besiege is fantastic and you can go at your own pace. You can, if you want to go fast, you can go fast. And if you want to take your time with it, you can take your time with it. There is no pressure for timing or anything like that. And yeah, you can just experiment. You'd be like, okay, let's just add some wheels here. What's that going to do? And especially now that they've added all the extra water levels, which is a while back, but it adds a whole gameplay and all that. 100%. If you're looking for a game, just relax and not take too seriously. But if you want to take it seriously, and Siege is a.
Are you ever gonna jump back in and do that as like your fuller game or fuller time sort of thing?
So if they come out with a DLC, 100%. Anytime they release a DLC, I will. On it, I've been trying. Like I keep getting people talking about the Armor Core shorts, and they're like, oh yeah. And one time somebody was like, "Oh, are you gonna do a tutorial?" And I was like, But my Armored Core, when I was making it, I was basically just trying to say, can I get it to work? Like, not does it look good, does it just work? And it did. But if you watch it walk, like when it's rolling around, it's okay. But watch it walk, it's like it looks like one of those floppy dinosaur costumes.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it's just kind of like all over the place. So I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do a tutorial, I want to make sure that it looks. And I got the legs to animate in a really, really good way. Like they looked really good, and I was like, oh, that's fantastic. But I had them kind of like on a scaffolding, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the scaffolding off, and then as soon as I took it, they're just kind of like, like undulating in this weird spin kind of dance move thing. Yeah, walkers in that game do not work great. You do have to kind of do some things to get a walker to work. Like for instance, slowing things down. If you get something to move at a fast pace, uh, you're most likely just gonna slide. It's not gonna grip the ground very well. So of course you would get an AC, you get an armored, moving super slow. So I've been trying to figure out a good way to get the legs to like once I get the legs to work, everything else is super easy. That's the hardest part, getting it to walk. So I've been trying to figure that out. I do tweak it from time to time. If I ever can get the legs to work again, and in a way that I'm satisfied with the look, 100%, I am going to make an Armored Core tutorial video. This is how you build an Armored Core. So we'll see if I'm ever able to figure that out to my own satisfaction.
Sounds good. Any final thoughts for today, Adam? How's Death Stranding going? Are you still playing Death Stranding?
No, I finished Death Stranding. I platinumed it. Done with that.
You played. You said Coffee Talk with Coffee.
I played Coffee Talk. I finished it.
Coffee Talk.
I didn't get all the endings, so I didn't platinum that. Kind of like, and
not your sort of game.
Not my sort of game. Yeah, no, I understand the appeal of it. I can understand where people like it. I liked the story and all that. But visual novels just aren't really my or at least most visual novels. So yeah, so I was like, once I was done with it, I'm like, I'm glad I played it. I enjoyed the music. The music was great. The atmosphere was great. It made me want to go out and hang out at a coffee shop on a rainy day. So it had the right vibe. But yeah, once I was done with it, I was like, okay, now I want to play a little action oriented because I really was. I literally was just like my wife was watching me on the chair, and I was just like this, like it's just clicking through all the story. Like I was holding the controller in one hand like that. I'm just like lounging back and I'm like, okay, reading the story. But I mean, it's just doing that for a long. So, but I enjoyed it. But yeah, it was time to move on once I finished it. I've been playing. I realized that once upon a Katamari, they say if you have save data from We Love Katamari reroll, then you can unlock the King of All Cosmos, the child version of him. So then I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then I was looking through my games. I was like, what am I gonna play next? Oh wait, I have Katamari reroll. I don't remember when I bought this, but apparently I did. So I should play that, and then I can unlock the king. But I don't know if that's actually gonna work. It might not actually work because watch my other videos. You know, my relationship with Bandai Namco really screwed up, and Bandai Namco released released Katamari Damacy in English and not Japanese or Chinese, only English, and then it released We Love Katamari in only Chinese. Not, so it looks like and given their recent track record, it looks like Once Upon a Katamari not going to be released in our region. So I would have to buy it on my American account, and I don't know if save data from a Taiwanese version of the game is going to be compatible with the. I don't know if it's going to count that or not. It might not. I really don't know. I would assume so, but still, I'm enjoying that. I don't really have much else to do, so I've been trying to 100% collection, whatnot. Also, I've played the demo for Demon X Machina, and I've downloaded the demo. I'm going to be playing that. So playing a lot of demos recently.
Fantastic.
And then with my friends, we've been playing Wildgate.
Nice. Yes, I know.
Yeah, we suck.
That.
We're terrible. We were way better at Apex and Helldivers.
But then maybe you guys do the one that's similar to Wildgate, jump space or jump time or something. That's just.
I really want. Yeah, they changed it to. It was jump ship and they changed it to. I really want to. I know one of the guys in our group is a little more PvP oriented, so I'm not sure if he wants to switch over to Wild. There's a jump space because jump space, Helldivers, entirely PvE. Or for me personally, I think I'm more in space. We'll have to wait and see. We'll see if we do that. Also, jump space I think is only on PC at least for the time.
Makes sense. Do. All right. Thank you for those concluding thoughts. Thank you guys for tuning in as always. Apologies for the delay today. Very weird technical issues. But as always, we're back to the regular schedule. So make sure you tune in for the edited videos. Share those with people that you like. Recommend them, comments, and all that stuff. Like really, I was watching a video yesterday. That guy is like one of the best YouTube educators in the world, and he was like, "Yep." Likes, comments, watch times. If you're watching a video, please try to watch the whole thing. If you can, that really makes a difference as well. And then we'll see you guys same time next week for more games and more stories and more action RPGs, perhaps. All right, see you guys later.